All right, hello everybody. So my name is Tom and I'm a developer at Purple Hippo Web Studio. I'm also a Teachable expert, and this is a webinar that I've not done for a long time. And in fact, I've not done this particular webinar ever before, but I wanted to try and jump into doing webinars. At least this pre-recorded one is going to be like the start, so I can sort of have it available for people to see at any time without having to match up time zones with America or United States. And Europe, which is where I'm in Ireland right now. So some people on the west coast of the United States are not even out of bed yet. So it's a good way to maybe do recording, and I can do it several times per day, including times that I wouldn't normally be available. So what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to use the Teachable. Now this is a new thing for me because I never use the Teachable built-in editor. Very, very occasionally I might use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a whole page. This is the example that I've done, and we're going to basically replicate this. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to get the different panels, how to change the background colors. This is a video. We may actually upload an actual video, probably not, because it just takes too long to actually upload the video in the first place, but we'll just mimic it. This is just basically the block, and it's waiting for a video to be added. But I'll show you how to do all this stuff, and then you can sort of play around. You can hopefully follow along if you want to. This is going to be totally unedited. So if you see mistakes, you're going to see me actually do them and make the changes as they need to. Pardon me. So hopefully, again, I can't cut that out because it's going to be a live webinar. And if you have any questions, the webinar system I'm going to be using, I'm not sure that it actually has any place for questions, but I'll figure something out. Maybe a Slack channel or Discord or something. We can set something up. But anyway, let's get started. This is the page that we're going to create. Very similar. We may pick different images if I can't find the specific images that we were talking about. But everything you see here is actually a Teachable block. It's just been edited within the Teachable system. I've not used any custom CSS anywhere. There was some custom CSS added, which is why these text for the navigation is smaller, but the page itself isn't using any custom CSS, or it shouldn't be. If it is, then it's a mistake, and it shouldn't be actually using anything. So if there are differences between what you create and what I create, it's probably because there is something over in my code snippets here that is still being pulled in, even though it shouldn't really be used, because this should all be very specific to stuff that I've done in other places. But it could still be affecting the page that I'm doing right now. But anyway, for the most part, this is what will work for your page as well as my page. And let's jump right in, okay? So I'm actually going to just go over here and come out of this. In fact, we can close that one down completely. I'm going to move this over to another screen so I can keep an eye on it, just for reference, essentially. This is the course that I'm in. I'm making a sales page for the course, although you could essentially do this over in the site and custom pages there. But just for the sake of this particular one, we're going to do it as a course sales page. And I'm using the 2.0 editor. You'll see that the 1.0 editor, I have an old school, so the 1.0 editor is still available for me, but it's pretty pants as well, so it's not that great either. However, we add new sales page. You won't get the option, actually I don't get the option anymore either. I used to have the option to have a 1.0 sales page or a 2.0 sales page. I don't get that anymore. We're going to build from template. Build from template. Okay, so that's the template they're talking about is the Teachable's built-in template, which we're going to remove essentially. You could start with AI. I've never even used this. Don't know, I've never tried it. So you want to try that, you can certainly go ahead and try that yourself. But we're going to build from template, and we're going to probably delete pretty much everything that comes up to start with, or certainly we're going to reuse it a little bit. Now Teachable is being a little slow today. They had some issues last night, and this is actually 5th of March today, 2024. So they did have some problems late last night, but it seems to have continued into today because now it's been very slow to generate and save things. Let's just refresh the page and see if it actually created the page. It didn't, so let's try again. Build from template, create it again. Page successfully created. There we go, it did it that time. Very temperamental sometimes. So now we've got some blocks that are, so this is the template that Teachable talks about. They basically create a bunch of blocks for you. Normally what I'm doing is I go through and I delete every single one of these blocks, and I start using the custom HTML block. And I write HTML from scratch, and I can do pretty much whatever I need to from that block. And very seldom will I use these other blocks. Maybe I'll use the video block because it's nice to use Teachable's own system and just upload the video there. But otherwise, I may actually have the video on Vimeo, or my client might have it on Vimeo or YouTube, and I'll embed it from that particular system into the Teachable platform. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to move my face over to the other side. I hope that didn't confuse anybody. But so what we're going to do is we're going to just jump back a little bit here. I'm going to leave most of these blocks here for now. We are going to redo some of this stuff. You can kind of see, I mean, the thing with using the Teachable blocks is that they're very identifiable. You can see that they're, for the most part, that they're a Teachable block when you have a look at the page. You can kind of see that, particularly these things here, they're very identifiable as being teachable. The trick is to use the images that are a little less obvious when it comes to background images from stock areas, from stock systems like Adobe Stock and all that sort of stuff. So, pardon me. I hope that doesn't continue as I'm doing this. So let's just jump into the first panel that we have here, which is the banner. So the different areas that you have when you look at this, and a lot of people actually miss this when you click on the banner, you've actually got two little tabs at the top here, and you can do a little bit of stuff over here with that. And we're going to do that now. We're going to actually click on replace image, and I can't remember. I think I went down here to unsplash, which gives you free images that you can use. Although you could, of course, upload your own images from My Device, which is your own computer. You can upload it from the computer if you've maybe downloaded it from another service. You can link from Instagram, whatever, but I'm going to be using Unsplash because they give you high resolution, high quality, for the most part, images. And I think I just used City as the name that I was looking for, and I just looked for one that looked kind of nice, and I actually don't know which one it was, but it has to be a landscape. You don't want to be using portrait in this particular case. So let's just try that one there. And the beauty about this is once you've done it and you don't like it, you can simply just go back over and try it again. You can also crop the images if you need to. We're not going to bother with that. We're just going to upload that new image. And that's actually not bad. I'm going to do some, let me actually go back to my other side. So what we did over here is we used some white text here, and you can kind of see that this is black, but this is white here. So how is that happening? It's because of this over here. Actually, it's not because of that over there. That's really weird. As I said, that should be black. Why is it not black? Because this is black. So there's something kind of weird going on here as far as how do I make that the right color. The background color of what? Well, it's a background color of the opacity of the image. So if we were to pull that down and give it, now again, this is taking a little while to update sometimes, but it seems to be okay now. You'll see that it's a lighter overlay, a lighter sort of background color that's overlaid on top of the background image. If we want it to be a darker color, we need to change this to black or a different color. And then when you change that, that's now changing the color of the text to the color that's here. So you have to be kind of careful with when you start moving things around when it comes to the design area, because it affects the color of the default text that Teachable provides for you. Now we can overwrite that, and we're going to do that right this second. Maybe 0.5 is not, and actually that's probably okay. You'll see that it'll actually start looking better when we start to edit the text and give the text some color. So we don't need to change anything else here. Keep this at 40, keep this at 40. We may change the content width. I don't think we need to be honest. And we're going to keep everything else at 0.5 and at 0, which is black. And we're going to back over here, and we're going to say, okay, let's just say learn how to create a course sales page using the 2.0 editor. Okay, so you can kind of see once it updates that it's still in black. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of the text. So just drag and drop all the text there and leave it on heading 1, because this is the header for your main hero header. So you want the heading to be H1, and we want to give it a white color. So just click on that little, you can kind of see, you can click on the A with a little color underneath it, and then just select white. So just drag it to the top left hand corner. You can also set 255, 255, 255. You can also click on here and go and do HSL color if you're into that sort of stuff, or hex if you're into that as well. You can do the hex. Now, one thing you can't do, if I remember correctly, if I was to do F6, F8, F1, whatever, and get this weird blue color, let me copy that out and then go back to FF. If I was to select all that and Control V to try and paste the color code I got from somewhere else, you can't do that. You have to manually type it. So it's kind of an awkward thing, because normally you go off and you grab your hex code from somewhere else and you paste it into the block. Now you can't do that. You can't paste it into here. So you need to, you could click on here and then copy the, and then I actually didn't realize that that was there. You can actually click on the little, what do they call that? Like color picker, and pick a color that you want to set as the color for this particular text block that we've used there. And as you see, it updated. It just took a little bit of time to do that. We don't want to do that. We want to make it white, so let's just grab white for now. And we also wanted to change the how-to part to that pink. So select how-to, go back over to, you can see this is not updated yet. Select over to the color, and we're going to go to the hex color, and I'm going to delete all that for now. I'm going to just have a look for my clipboard that I have. This is the color F14668. So F14668. And there we go. It's actually, I've done it wrong. F14668. Eventually will update. We can actually hit enter just to save it. And we also did that for the 2.0 part. So let's just go 2.0. Now, of course, you can do this on any particular word that you want to. Did I actually save that? It should have saved it. So give it a second for it to update. We also want to go back over to here and just do the same thing. So delete those ones and do F14668. Should give us the pink. Press enter. And eventually this will update with the new color. So in the subtext, subheading text, we also want to make that white, but one of the things you need to remember is that if you make this white, it's really difficult to see it. So the best thing to do is, if you want to have white text on your hero headers, or anywhere for that matter, you should write whatever it is you need to write, make your error corrections, typos, whatever it is, and then change the whole block to white. So I'm actually going to grab the text from over here and just paste it in here for now. There we go. It normally comes in as as a paragraph text, so let's just go back to normal. That's what it would normally look like. And again, we don't have it as white text yet, and it's centered automatically. So what we want to do here is we want to make it white text, and we want to make it an H4. So H4 is the easy part. Just click on there, H4. You can of course pick whatever heading you want. Don't make it another H1, because that's, again, you could if you wanted to, but convention sort of says that you should only have one H1 on your page, and then we can add a white text here. There we go. So that gives us those parts. The other part that we did in the other page, if I bring that across real quick, is we added this little webinar pre-text to the header, and we've also got the button as well. So let's just pull that out of the way again, and over here on the left, under the head and text again, we're going to make sure we click into the block, go all the way back to the end, hit enter, which will bring all the text down when it eventually updates in the panel. And we did a dash. When it does that, it thinks it wants you to do bullets, so make sure you do Control Z to undo that autocorrect sort of thing, and just type in webinar and then add another dash at the end. Now it centers everything automatically. It's made it the dark text, and we want to change that to, in this case, the green color. Now, I don't remember what the green color hex code was, so if you give me a second, I'll just have a look. Actually, I have it in my clipboard, so let's just save that again. Let's just come back over here. Let's click on the little AF to get the color. We'll jump down to the hex code. I'll just delete that all for now. I'll bring up my clipboard and I'll have a look for the color. Now, I think we'll use the other color, this one here. So it's 0EB997. So unfortunately I can't paste it in there because I would normally, if I just hit enter, it would paste it automatically from this clipboard system, but it doesn't let me do that, so I need to actually type it out. So 0EB997, 0EB997. Now again, it doesn't matter if these hex codes are wrong. If you've got brand colors, they need to be exactly right, of course. So use whatever it is that your brand is. For us, in this case, it doesn't matter if it's left in blue, but it will eventually update once the page catches up. There we go. So the one thing that is a little different, I guess it might just be the way, because I've got this set up a little differently. Yeah, that's probably what it is. I think this is the vertical height of this panel is different from the vertical height of the other panel because I've got this at 1080 and for the recording, whereas this page is a little different. Let's just double check. It is. Okay, so it should be exactly the same, essentially. Okay, let's pull it out. It's just it adjusts depending on how tall your browser is. Okay, let's just we can actually use preview for now. Let's just click on preview and see what that actually looks like. So that actually looks pretty nice. Again, you can pick the background image, you can change the text, you can change individual word colors, you can even make them bolder or less bolder depending on what you have here. So you've got bold. It's actually difficult to see that I actually did anything there. Italic, and then underline. You can do it on underline. Learn how to. Again, and when it saves a draft automatically, you don't need to click on preview again. You can just come back over to this tab that you previously opened and update it. So I did Command R because I'm on a Mac, but you can do F5 and it'll update it. So it's underlined the how to. So now let's jump down to the button down at the bottom here. So I had a bit of a problem when I was doing the practice run because I was trying to get the button to jump down to the bottom section, and you can't do that. It would actually open up a new page. So it's kind of restricted with when you have a go to URL. You could technically put in a bookmark that will take you to another place within the page, but because Teachable automatically opens up a new page when you click the button, it wouldn't work. So the best thing to do is to have this go to URL to the checkout page, and then pick a pricing plan. Now I've got 2 free plans, but if you've got your main plan perhaps and maybe some other sub plans, you could have it go to the one that you want people to buy more often or most often. The only other option is to just basically turn off the button and hope that people will scroll down the page. Now typically you need a call to action. So that call to action is to do something. In this case, it's a enroll in course, and that's what you want them to do. Now this is a free course, so there's no payment plan, but typically you'd want them to enroll in the course or learn more. But you can't click on learn more and scroll down to the next part of the area of the page, which is a bit unfortunate because it would be nice if it could do that. Again, because I write in HTML, I would have rewritten this whole panel to do exactly the same thing, essentially. Show a background image, show your H1, show your paragraph down at the bottom here, and then a button. But the button I could write myself, and it would do whatever I needed to do, include scroll down to the bottom of the page. But we're limited to the 2.0 editor, so we're going to stick with that for now. So in this case, we're just going to enroll in course. And again, if I just come back over here and refresh the page, it'll update the button. Now, just a word on colors here. The color of the button is based on the color of the theme over here, which is this color down here. If I was to change this color here, it would automatically change the color of this button, but it wouldn't change the color of this text because we set that manually, if you remember. So just be aware of that. If you are going to change colors globally, sometimes it will change colors for you because you're changing the color of the button, which is part of the global CSS. But because we manually set this color, as you remember over here, with these ones here, it won't update if you change the color over here. Okay, so just be mindful of that. So that's that first panel essentially finished. We can scroll down to the next part. So with the next part we're doing, just for the sake of argument, we're going to look at the image with text. We're not actually going to use that one, so just again, so you can see stuff, we can actually move that out of the way or move it down to the bottom. We've got example text. We're going to use that text block for the next section, and the next part underneath that is going to be the text with images. So we're going to move that one above it. So now we've got the example text and we've got the text with images, or it's like an image grid, essentially. Unfortunately, well, we'll get to that in a minute. Unfortunately, there's a lot of unfortunate things when it comes to the Teachable built-in 2.0 editor. It doesn't quite do what you want it to do all the time, and you just have to deal with it. There's nothing you can do. I mean, you could get into CSS and overwrite some of the stuff with CSS, but this webinar is not about that. This webinar is about trying to do everything within the confines of the 2.0 editor and still get something that looks nice. So if we pull over the example that we had, which is this one here, this little block of what teachable blocks will learn, and then using a a text block to create a custom header for the next section, is essentially this block here. So that's the text block. All I did was delete everything here. In fact, let's not delete it. Let's just rewrite it. We'll only need to delete this part here. Let me pull this back over here so I have the text that I'm looking for. So underneath here we've got using text. I think I've used text block as capital text. Let's just try and keep it consistent. Text blocks to create a custom header for the next section, and you'll see that you'll see the reason why in a second that I'm doing this. What teachable blocks will learn. Oh, typo, will learn. So same thing. This is a H4. Now I would normally have this H2. Any sort of section titles, you can have them whatever you want. H3, H4, whatever it is. Just don't have them H1. The different sizes are explained here. H4 is quite small, H3 is bigger, H2 is bigger than H3, and H1 is the biggest, right? So I would normally have this H2 perhaps when it does actually update. There we go, it did update. But you now see that it's actually wrapping the last word, which is not ideal. We'll get to that in a minute. Also, this is not centered, so we're going to make sure that this is centered. So select that text, and then over here we've got center text. Now it's a shame that all of the teachable blocks for text don't have this center text, etc. It's like some of them force you to have it centered, like over here, but I think you can actually left align this if you need to. Let's just have a look over here in the design. Can you left align stuff? Yeah, left align. You can actually left align and right align stuff. Unfortunately, I mean, it kind of looks weird. So you may want to have that in certain situations. You could change the content width so that it could bring it out to here, and it might look a bit tidier. But there's also no way to put an image on the right hand side, which is what you would typically do if you were designing something that looked nice in the hero header. You'd have your background image, you'd have your text on the left, and you'd have some sort of image on the right, or a video perhaps on the right. Again, we're using the built-in 2.0 editor. This is not what I would normally do if I was designing for somebody or developing for somebody. But anyway, let's move this back to center because it looks a little bit nicer that way. And come back over to the other text banner that we were doing. And one of the things we were talking about was the fact that this was wrapping. So in order to fix that, we need to go over to the design tab and then just change the content of this to, what did I set it as? I actually don't remember what I set it as. 960 perhaps? That should be fine now. So we'll set it at 960. And if I come back over here and just refresh the page, things have changed about a bit. So we've got, this is correct, but we've got a gray background. So we'd want to get rid of the gray. So again, dead simple. Just come over here. You can just drag it all the way up to the top left, or you could type FFFFFF, which is hexadecimal code for white. You can also use the shorthand version, which is just FFF. If all the letters are the same, you can just basically do it just 3 instead of 6. But that'll refresh when Teachable refreshes the page to FFF. And we want to also, so if I was to change the heading color and the text color here, it would automatically update this here. But we're going to override it anyway, so we might as well just do it here. We can leave the text for this part the same, but this part was pink with teachable blocks in the green color that we had. So let's just go over to the text and we'll grab the green color. Let's just delete all of that, and I don't remember what the number was. It was 0EB997. Actually, it's the pink one I want, so let's do that again. The pink one is F1466B. F1466B. But then we're also going to just grab the teachable blocks and we're going to color that as the green color, which again, I don't remember the number because I can never remember 6 numbers or 6 characters because it's letters. Let's just grab that as well. 098 or something, isn't it? 0EB997. 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 Okay, there we go. Hit enter, and that's that part now. So one of the things is about spacing is kind of awkward as well. Is like Teachable always adds a carriage return or a line feed or whatever you want to call it underneath wherever the text is. Even if I delete that like that, and save it, publish it, go back to the same text block, it'll add that. Typically, it adds that line back again. So if I was just to come out of here and then go back in again and then have a look at that, see, it's added it back again. So you need to be careful when that happens, that if you don't want that extra line feed, to make sure that you delete it and then come out and don't go back in again. If you do go back in again, make sure you delete it again. The one thing we are going to have to do though is we're going to have to do that again. Just do that, but come over to the design, and then at the bottom here we want to put that to 0. This is the padding at the bottom, and because we're having this Teachable title here as part of the secondary block or the image grid, we want to make sure that there's no padding, so it sort of looks like it's joined together essentially. So that's that part. Actually, stay here. Make sure we delete that again. Yeah, and then we're just going to come out of that completely. Now that should be okay now. All right, so let's just check how it looks. We changed the background image to white. We've got that. The one thing we haven't done compared to the other one is we didn't have this gap here. So let's remove that gap. Text. We actually probably just did that. Yeah, I think that's how we did it. And again, we'll just remove that last line that we had there as well. Come back out again. All right, next block. Text with image 1, 2, and 3. Same thing with the design. Let's make sure we have 960. We do. Actually, no, we didn't do that. What we have here is we actually have a video next. So the video is actually really easy. Just click on Add New Block, Video, Add. We don't want any of this, so we're just going to delete all of that. Make sure you delete everything. So use the delete key and the back key, and then you can also select Control A, Command A to select everything, and then just press delete, and that will delete everything. Just make sure you delete everything. So just make double sure. This is actually at the bottom. Again, we want to go to the design, and probably at the top we want to set that to 0. We might have to change that a little bit. Leave it at 960. Leave the bottom at 40. Heading color, we don't need heading color, description color, because we deleted everything, right? But you see, it's added it back again. It's very frustrating. Every time you go back to the same place, it'll be the same. So over here, you want to upload your video. There are restrictions as far as Teachable is concerned. I think it's 2 gigabytes, but you shouldn't be uploading 2 gigabytes for anything unless you're uploading like a high definition video of some sort, or movie, I should say, because they're all videos. So back over here, we want to just drag this video up underneath the text where we had it, and it'll move it all the way up to the top here. And yeah, we do need to reduce this, so let's just double check. It might be the text that we need to reduce on this side. So the bottom is already 0 for that. The video over here, the top is 0. It must be this content here again. Yep. Let's just also do normal, and then leave that completely. So yeah, that's kind of what you have to do, is you sort of have to go in, delete everything, and then come straight out again. Don't go any other tab, otherwise it'll add that line carriage return again. So you kind of have to be careful with that. So that would normally be your video added. You would upload that video yourself, of course. We're not going to bother doing that in this particular instance. So over with text with image grid. Now, one of the things you could use background images if you want to, but in this case here, I think icons or some sort of icon view would be a lot nicer. Unfortunately, you can't change the size of these images. They're kind of static. Again, we're working within the confines of what Teachable gives us to use. So we kind of have to just go with the flow in a sense. So if you click on the little drop down, you get the option to replace image. You can add an alt image, which you probably should, to be honest, and you can change the title of the heading and then the text itself. So what I've done here in our panels is the first one, I just clicked on replace. Again, I used Unsplash and I just looked for icon. Now you'd probably want to go off and buy some proper icons from somewhere. But again, just for the sake of how this works and what you can do with it, I'm just going to use what I can find within the Unsplash here. So this is the first one that I found. And once it's uploaded to the system, again, you can crop it, make it circle, you can rotate it if you need to. It looks like we're having problems with this one. Oh, there we go, it's finalized. Click on upload, it'll change this image to the one that we just picked. And then we just want to change the text to match what we had here. So it's images with text. Things are very slow today. And I actually made this underline, so select all and then just click on underline. And I left it at H5, so it's fine. And then this text, I just use lorem ipsum text. So we don't even have to change this, but you could change this to whatever you need it to be. I have a little application that lets me do quick lorem ipsum when I'm developing or designing rather. I can just copy that random text there and I can just paste it in here. Okay, and then we just want to repeat that. So scroll to the top, you can click that little arrow to collapse text 1 or image 1 and then start on image 2. Do the same thing. So replace image, come down over to here to Unsplash. Again, if you had your own images, your own icons, whatever you wanted to use, you would upload these from your device. Make sure that they're not 2 megabytes in size. You need to compress them, get them down to, these are small images. They're never going to be full screen. So you only want them to be, 600 pixels wide by 600 pixels tall. Square is what we're using here, although the images that we're pulling in our landscape, Teachable is automatically converting them to like an image. So anyway, icon, hit enter to search for it, and I think it was quite far down, this one. So this is one of the ones that we used, but the other one we used was little eyes, little people. Where is it? Again, it doesn't really matter what we use, but let's, again, for consistency, let's just try and find the ones that I use. Here they are. So it's the same guy actually, fun enough. So once that's loaded in, we can click on upload, and it'll upload the image, and then we want to just change the title, which was featured products. Now this would obviously be relevant to whatever course you're selling. So if you're doing courses on knitting or sewing, then it might be something relevant to that particular sort, maybe patterns or wool types or whatever. For us, we're using something that's a bit sort of relevant to the fact that we're designing a course in 2.0 or a sales page in 2.0 editor, which is why we're sort of talking about featured products, which is one of the blocks that we're going to be doing. So again, we're going to select that whole title. We're going to click on the U to underline it, and we're going to come down here. We're going to delete all of this, and I'm going to just grab a lorem ipsum. It should give me a different one this time. Every time I open the plugin, it gives me a different text. So this is actually is this centered? This is centered. It just coincidentally looks like it's left aligned, but it's actually centered. Okay, all right, sorry. Let's jump over to the next one. We're going to replace that image. We're going to go to Unsplash. We're going to look for the, again, it's an icon. And it's right here. I quite like that one. It looks like a sort of database sort of thing. Anyway, change the image, change the title to email leads form. Again, we're going to edit that one a little bit as far as what we can do as far as Teachable lets us do. And we're going to just change this text to lorem ipsum text. Let's grab that, copy that, paste that in there, and it should be done. Okay, good. So I don't think we needed to do anything else here. Again, just be careful when we go back and forward that it doesn't add extra carriage returns and stuff. It might actually do that. I don't think we need to change anything here. Yeah, I think from the original that I did the other day, we actually added a border radius. So border radius is the curve that you get on your images. So if I actually make this 10, so you can either do it here, or if you get to like almost where you need to go, you can actually just click this here to sort of finalize it to get it to exactly what you want it to be. So we're using 10 pixels as the border radius. Unfortunately, you can't turn them into circles because of that. it doesn't quite go all the way to circles. But if you remember when we actually added the image, let's just add a random one for a second, and then just come over here and then do icon. Let's just grab that one. We can actually force it here to be a circle and then save that. Now I don't know whether that, so it does give you a transparency at the back. We're going to upload that. I've not actually used this, so this is live, totally live. It's nice that we can actually do that, because now we'll see down here that we actually have a circular image, even though up here you can't actually make it a circle using the designs of the this design here of the border radius, which hasn't actually saved for some reason. Let's make that 10. You can actually use, when you're uploading the image, you can actually ask it to give you a circle, which is nice. I didn't know it could do that, so that's something I learned today too. Anyway, we don't need that block, so we're actually going to delete that. Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. It's not irreversible in a sense, because you could just add it back again. So don't worry about it when it says things like that. This is irreversible. It is irreversible from that perspective, but you can just add another one back again. We can just click on add new and redo it, right? Similarly, when you delete, if you delete the video, you'll have to upload the video again, which is kind of awkward, but you can just add another video block. So it is something you need to be mindful of, but it's not the end of the world if you delete something by mistake, unless it's HTML code, in which case it is the end of the world, because I've done that several times. So that's that block done. You may want to get into a situation where underneath this you might want to add. We've not done this in the actual design that I originally did, but you could probably want to add a button here. So you could add a button, and then this is the button style, and you can move that button. Let's just add it. We can always move it or remove it later on. Again, we want to say enroll in course perhaps, and then we're going to actually go to the checkout page again, and we'll pick one of the plans, which is free in this case. And the design, we're going to just leave it. We might actually remove the padding from the top, so it aligns right to the very top of the page, and we're going to actually drag that up underneath the image with grid, which is way up here, and that gives us, which looks like it's part of the same 3 panels there. So now we've got our hero header, pardon me about that email coming in, we've got the webinar hero header, we've got the what you'll learn text block, we've got the video, we've got the 3 panels, which gives you your feature information type of thing, and then we've got another enroll in course, another call to action. Okay, so if we actually want to preview that, we can do so. There we go. It's looking not too bad. So the next panel that we did was an image left and text right, which is this exact block. We're just going to change it. We're going to make it a little bit fancier, but we're not going to edit anything. We're not going to do any HTML. We're not going to do CSS. So let's click on the block. As you know, you might not have noticed that, but you can actually click on the block and it'll actually pull in the actual area that you need to edit. So in this case, we want to have image left. We can actually switch that if we want to, and we'll switch that for the next panel that we do, which is the bio. We're going to have left image. We're going to replace the image with, actually don't even know what I typed here. I think I typed, was it course maybe? And I searched for it, course. Again, it doesn't really matter what we use, and if I can't find it right away, I'm just going to pick any portrait style image, because landscape won't fit well here. So let's just look for a nice portrait style. Let's just grab that one there actually. Again, you would want to upload images that are relevant to your course that you're actually selling. And you may have stock images, or you may have your own images that you've taken yourself, whatever. Maybe you're a photographer and you've got these images, which is great, best way to do it. Otherwise, you'll have to go off and buy. Of course, you can still use stock images from Unsplash to do this. And I would rather just do something like that than worry about it. Just get something on the page semi-relevant to what you have for your particular course. So over here on the, we're not going to do an alt image. You probably would want to do the alt image, which is a search engine optimization / accessibility thing. It's not something you would normally see, but screen readers and stuff would actually see this alt text if they were doing a screen reader type of thing. And at Google, for example, or DuckDuckGo or Bing or whatever will find this when they do the spider crawling, what the alt text is. So you could say, I don't know, image left, text right. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. Image left, text right. You know, normally you want to describe the image, but because we're talking about creating an image on the left hand side and the text on the right hand side is our block, we kind of want to have it relevant to the rest of the text that we have here. But again, I don't want to get into search engine optimization. Let's just continue with the text that's here. Create image left / right with text, and that was all capitalized. And I actually had that in H2, so let's make that H2. Pretty big. And then the bottom text, let me just grab this here so I don't have to retype it. Grab all that, and we'll just paste that in here. Paste that in. Oh, look at that! It's actually copied it in with the color of the text. That's very strange. I know how to fix that. We can just come up here, paste that into there, copy it out again. Little tricks of the trade. It doesn't want to. There we go. Paste that in there. And then we actually want to delete. I think I deleted everything there, and I think I left this one here. Again, this is personal preference. You could delete it completely and have it right up against each other, or you can add one carriage return. This is an instance where you actually want to have the carriage return just to give it that little breathing space. But it's not necessary. It's up to you how you want to do it, and you can either have it here or you can have it here. If you have it here, you're going to get a little bit more. Actually, it's normal text, so it's exactly the same. So over here in the design, we want to change the background color to pink. That's our ready pink color that we have. So that's over in the design area. Come over to design, delete what you have here. Again, you could pick the color manually if you wanted to whatever you wanted it to be, but we want to be consistent with our color schemes. So let's grab the color that we're using. Again, I don't remember the hex color, so let's grab it from my clipboard. It was was it that one? I think it was F14668. I need to click here. So F14668. That gives us the back. So now you can see that we've got the dark text, which we wanted to turn it to white. So same as what we did before. Grab the text, click on the text color box, and then just grab the white. And then same with this one down here. It's a different area, of course, just to make it confusing. There we go. So that's that part done. The only other thing you might want to do is increase the padding here. It looks very quite consistent because it's 40 pixels that we're using, but sometimes you might want to have this even at 80 or 60 just to give it a little bit more breathing room. But for now, we'll just leave it as is because I think that's what we've done in the other page. Okay, so let's just jump over quickly and have a look at that. We can actually close that one down. I was still refreshing the page. There we go. So we've got those three panels that we've done. 1, 2, 3. Actually 4 if you include this one here. And the next one is going to be the bio. So it's actually very similar. We can actually duplicate this, but we're not going to duplicate it. Let's create it from. You could come over here and just click on duplicate, and it'll give you an exact copy, and then you could edit the copy. But it doesn't matter. We can actually just come over here, do text image with text. Don't forget to click on add, and then adds it to the bottom, so you can come out of it and then you'll see it's actually added to the bottom. I'm going to actually rename this to bio so it doesn't give us confusion between the text image with text we already have. Now that didn't actually update. Let's try that again. As I said, Teachable is having weird problems today with not doing any updates. Let's move it first. Let's just make sure that it moved. It did. We've actually got another image with text that we could have used there, but it's fine. Let's just try and rename this time. Bio. Nope. There we go. It worked that time. So now we're going to click on bio. We're going to do image right to flip it to the other side. So now it looks nice because it's moved it to the other side. We're going to change the lady to a different picture. And again, I think I just typed lady. And yeah, there she is. I just picked her. And this would obviously be your own bio picture, not some random lady off the internet. And then over here, again, you can add an alt text if you want to. You can add a link to the URL. I don't know why you would do that necessarily. Image link to URL. I mean, you could. I mean, if you wanted to click on here and have it take you to a bio page, for example, maybe you could do that. That would be something that could be done. But here we're going to just say hello. I'm Rachel, and Rachel is nobody that I know. It's just a random name I just came up with. And I'm also going to make this H2. And I also take Rachel and I give her that other color, which was, do you think I can remember it? F14668. For once I actually remembered it. Okay, and then the text underneath, I just took the text that was there and I gave myself 3 paragraphs, exactly 18 words, and I just copy pasted that in there. That's all I did. You'd obviously put in whatever you wanted to. You could maybe add some bullet points if you've got some things that you can take from your actual bio and stick it into bullet points, maybe your skill set or whatever it is. Like for example, we could just do something like this. Click on that one there and say HTML, CSS. But again, it's centered it, which is not nice. That's the only problem about it. JavaScript, etc. You can do that, but you can see if I put another one here that's got a big long word, it's still going to center it. And bullet points don't typically look nice when they're centered. So that's a personal preference whether you want to do that or not. Again, this is one of those blocks that doesn't have the ability to left align it. So typically I would have this left aligned because this looks much nicer. If it's a bunch of paragraphs, rather than it being centered, it should be left aligned. But you can't left align this particular text here. I think I have seen it that if you, no, because it is left aligned here, but it's centering it here. Yeah, I thought there would be a way that we could actually do it, but there's no way to override it, unfortunately. So as far as I understand, you can't center this particular area, but if anybody does know how to do that, that would be helpful. I thought that you could maybe copy paste it from another block that was already centered or already left aligned, but this here is already left aligned, right? So it didn't actually do anything. Okay, so the next part that we have is the example curriculum. I didn't touch anything here except, and you don't see any content over here because I don't have any actual lectures in this particular blank course. It would normally update with blank course and it would let you change the example curriculum. And we might actually turn it on so that we can actually do edits if we have enough time. But if we come over here to the design area, I changed this from 710 to the consistent 960 that we set for all the other blocks. And it just keeps everything aligned up nicely for the rest of the area. The next part we did was the pricing options. So you can add your pricing plans, second plan here, like that. And all I did was I went over to, I think I changed the enroll now. That's actually enroll now. We can change that to whatever you want, based on whatever you select here, of course. Over here, actually I changed this to choose, no, I changed our course is free, and I say please choose an option below. And then I made this again H2, consistency. Try and keep things as consistent as you can. It just will make things look more cohesive. And if you don't want that extra line, don't forget to delete the line. You might have to come back and do that anyway. I think I also had a period at the end there just to make sure. And then I changed the background color. And I used the color of the green, which we have, which is, again, I don't remember what the color hex code is. I should actually have this written down somewhere. It was it was actually this one here, 0EB997. So 0EB997. And that should give us the background color when it eventually updates. There we are. Now you could go over and change the color of the heading. Oh my goodness, what has happened here? It's taking a while to update. Let's just do that to make sure that it updates again. You could change this to FFF, which actually looks a little bit nicer, but unfortunately there's no way to change these colors. Now this might be something you can change over here, maybe the body text, but if you change any of these body text or navigation, it's going to change all of your body text and all of your navigation everywhere. So I wouldn't recommend it. I would just leave it with dealing with the fact that this is dark. You could in fact and I think this is what I actually did do eventually, is I came back over here, instead of using the darker green, I picked a lighter version of it just by clicking a little bit over here a little bit, and just grabbed a lighter version of the same kind of hue that we have of the color, and then I changed this back to black. In fact, it wasn't black, but whatever color you want to use there for the darker text, you can do that. And then I think the last thing I did was I actually increased this to 80, and then the bottom 80. Again, this is completely up to you whether you want to add that little bit of extra padding. I could even do with even a bit more than 80 to be fair, but it's fine for now. The next panel that we did, which was this one here, actually image with text, course curriculum. So we've got course curriculum, we've got the pricing. So we're now at the image with text. We didn't actually use that one, so we're going to actually come over here, click on delete, and again the action is reversible because you can just add that back again because it wasn't edited. And then we've got the featured products, which are any particular courses you might want to upsell, or at least give them the option to go and look at that page if you want to. I don't know that this is a great idea, but you can of course add this if you wanted to. You can add Hero Header 1, you can add Hero Header 2, whatever you have here. None of these are actually. I think Hero Header 1. I think Hero Header 1-2 is available to get if you wanted it to, but I'm not actually sure, to be honest. It should be free anyway. So that's the 3 courses that we add. This doesn't actually have an image, which is why it's given us this blank image here. And these are actually old image designs that were for a previous version of the Teachable system, and they've since changed the design of this, which is not as the height of the panel that gives you the image is not as tall, so I actually need to go back and redo these images. But anyway, that's another topic for another time. The only other thing I think we did here, which unfortunately you can't do here, is this button has got these pill-shaped buttons. Our buttons are and that button there is also pill-shaped. This button here is also pill-shaped. But if we come up here and go back over to the design and change the border radius of the button to 10, that'll keep it consistent with the 10 that we have here. Unfortunately, we can't change this one, but that was when we added extra. We can't change this one because this is built into the. There's not a way to actually change that. Oh, I lie. There is a way to change that. That's a 10. Will it update for us? I didn't do that in the actual original design, which is why I didn't think we could do it. Doesn't look like it's updated. Maybe we'll give it a second. Design, border radius. This one is also design. The button is border radius 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There you go. And this one hasn't updated for some reason. I don't know why. Let's try that again. Border radius 11, 10. This may update for you if you're following along. As I say, we're having a bit of a slow Teachable day today. Let's go down to the. I mean, that's essentially done. We actually probably want to have that background as white if it's not already set to white. No, we want to make sure it's white. You could, of course, keep the dark, the sort of light grey. That's again, it's entirely up to you. If you have that design concept that you want to have it slightly different off shade, and that's totally fine to do, of course, right? We want to do the Let's Keep in Touch panel. So this is a panel that Teachable provides, which when they enter their email address, they end up over here under your username. Oh my goodness, it's actually wanting me to log in. Wants me as a username. Under lead. Now I should have no leads because I don't have that anywhere. So whenever somebody fills out this form for Let's Keep in Touch or whatever you have written here, they end up as a lead over here, and you have to follow up with them manually. If you wanted to integrate your MailChimp or ConvertKit or HubSpot or something like that, you'd have to get this snippet of code from there and use a custom HTML block. If you don't have a custom HTML block available when you come over to add new block here, if that's not available, you need to open up a chat with or a ticket with Teachable and ask them to turn on the HTML block because it's not turned on by default. So yeah, so email leads form, we just want to change the background of that to the color that we were using for the green. And again, we're using that light color of green. So let me grab that light color. I don't even think I have it on the clipboard at the moment. It was the 6FE 7CF. 6FE7CF. There we go. And then I changed the color of the text here to white, but I don't know that it actually needs that. Maybe the first one, but I actually changed this one to white too. But you can't change the color of these here, unfortunately, either, which is why this green was, which is why I set that green to a lighter version of green rather than the dark version of green, because it was hard to see that text on the darker green color. And honestly, that's it. Let's just click on preview. It opens up another tab. We could have just refreshed this one here. This is our page that we've just done. Once it loads in, of course, you want to, again, make sure you upload your video and all the rest of it. Use images that are relevant to your course that you're selling. Use a bio image, of course, and not some random lady off the internet. Make sure that if you're adding feature products or other products that you've got on your course, that you have good images that go here, good imagery. This color of the text here is based on the color that we have over under the theme. So just be aware of that as well. That's the button color and link color. The one other thing that we want to make sure that we do, I think it's over here, 960, is this here. We want to edit the page title, demo, webinar, page design, whatever it's called, doesn't really matter. And then let's just wait for that to save, because it's doing a save in there. This is the part that's been really slow today, and it might even fail. You just have to be aware that if this is slow, you might want to go and have a cup of coffee and come back a little bit later on. Fortunately, it's actually saved the draft. Now, if I publish this, it's going to take that untitled 2-1 page URL, and it's going to say, do you want to use that, or do you want to use a different page URL? And we want to use something that's relevant to the page that we've just done, or your course that you're selling. But webinar, course, demo there, page design. Because this is what people are going to click on and type in if they want to, or they're going to click on Google or search engine or whatever it is, and they're going to end up on a page that's going to look like this. Publish. So now, if I close that one down and go, it's still thinking about it. Let's let that think about it while I go back over here, because this will eventually update with the new title and the new page that we created here, actually, because this is the new page. So for some reason it's still not saved. Can I grab that? Is it going to let me copy this? It isn't even going to let me copy that. How weird is that? Is it? Oh, there we go. Okay, that might have actually worked. Let's just go back over here and refresh this page. Again, you probably will have this problem. Well, you may have this problem if you're running into the same problem that I'm having at the moment with slow Teachable. This is I guess I don't need this one, but this is the one I should have just done. Demo web page des. Now that's not what I typed, but it's not saved it properly. You can come over here and change this and rename the page title. Design, save, and it should give us the design. Now if I click on the little eye, the view icon, it'll open up the actual page and not the private page, which is the unpublished page. Forget about this part at the bottom here. This is just Witness, which is one of the applications that I developed for Teachable. It's in the app hub if you're curious, and it's running on my school, so that's why it keeps popping up here. So there's the page that we just did using the 2.0 editor. Hopefully it's helped you to understand a little bit more about what Teachable can do, even just out of the box. It's not ideal. It doesn't give you as much control as when you're writing with HTML, which is what I typically do for people when clients hire me to do stuff. I very seldom, in fact, I never develop using their blocks unless they've already started with that block system, with the Teachable system, and they're asking me to fix what they've done or tidy up what they've done, and maybe I'll do that for them. But if they were looking for something a bit more fancy or a bit more structured, then we may have to sort of dump the Teachable block and write something by hand. For example, the FAQ block, for example. People are also always asking about FAQ. FAQ block used to be part of the 1.0 editor. It's not available as a 2.0 block or section. And it's really difficult to create something that looks nice using the text block. So you would typically have to write that in HTML. But anyway, 59 minutes and 51 seconds. I was hoping to keep this under 1 hour. I can't believe I actually did that without even thinking about it. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful, and take care of yourself. Bye, guys.